we're going to show you how you can do something with herbs besides sprinkle them on a dish. Today we're going to make a pesto chicken. Hi, I'm Dr. Sandra Bastin, and today I have my son James, who is 14 and likes to dabble just a little bit in the kitchen. We're going to make pesto, which is a variety of herbs, and today we're using parsley and fresh basil, and we have a half a cup of each. And then we're going to use a half a cup of Parmesan cheese that's already shredded. And we are going to use walnuts because we're real walnut fans in our house. There's 2 tablespoons, and then there's 2 cloves of garlic that James has already minced. So James, why don't you show us how we're going to make this pesto?
Well, you're going to mix, I've already added 3 tablespoons of olive oil into the blender. And we're going to mix our nuts, garlic, and all our other ingredients together into the blender.
And notice that we haven't had to chop up the parsley or the basil, but that will make it a little bit more difficult for us to use our blender and to do this correctly. Now, how are you going to actually mix this together, James?
Well, I'm going to use the pulse button, Mom.
Okay.
And when I'm done pulsing it, I have to take off the lid, which doesn't seem to want to come off.
We have that problem sometimes.
Yes. And make sure that I keep the ingredients down near the blade.
Okay.
So that doesn't just get mixed up.
Okay, well let's give it a shot then.
All right.
Now you can see it starting to chop, and James is just going to keep scraping down the sides until all the ingredients are down there and mixed together. And it takes just a little bit of time to do this, but after a couple minutes it'll all be mixed together, and we'll show you what it's going to come out as. Well, we're getting ready to take the pesto out of the blender. And it took us about 5 minutes to keep pulsing it to make sure that we got it all to the consistency that we wanted it. And you might want it finer if you were going to serve it on bread with a little olive oil. But I think that this is exactly what we want it to be for our chicken. Okay, that's good, Victoria. Victoria is helping me now simply because her brother had to run off for baseball practice. So, with all families, family meal times are sometimes interrupted, but maybe he'll be back before we finish. Okay, the next step in this pesto chicken, Victoria, do you remember how to make this?
Yes, I do. Piece of chicken.
Then she's going to spread it out on on the whole breast, leaving it so that it doesn't fall over the edges, because we're going to fold this up in just a second. Oh, that looks good, and it smells so wonderful. Pesto I really like because you can actually smell the different flavors of each of the ingredients that we've got in there. The basil and the parsley and the garlic and the walnuts. You can actually smell all that coming up to the top and really smelling up the kitchen. This is cheese that I purchased at the farmer's market. Remember, we found one place that was selling cheese and milk, and so we've sliced off what we need. You could just as easily have shredded it, but we're just going to put a half of a piece in the center, and this will help reduce the calories that we might be adding to this. Now she's going to just fold it over in half. And if it won't stay together, don't worry about it. You can use a toothpick, or you can just use your hands to hold it together while you're fixing it. Now, it's very important to make sure that once you've handled poultry with your hands that you go wash your hands. And you don't want to put raw ingredients onto a plate that also is going to hold the finished product. But first, what she's going to do is she's going to make sure that she has flour all over, and this is called dredging. We're dredging it in flour, and it's the beginning of an egg wash. Our egg wash is 1 egg and 2 teaspoons of 2% milk, and we've beat that together. And then from there we go to breadcrumbs, and we have taken some leftover rolls that we had, and actually ground these up. And then once she has that good and covered, she's going to set it aside. And now she's going to do the rest of them. Okay, Victoria's going to go wash her hands, and we're going to take these things out of the way, and then we're going to show you how we can saute the chicken breasts so that they'll have a nice brown appearance. We're now going to take our chicken and brown off the sides, and I want to say that it's important for families to cook together. I think it's nice to have them in the kitchen preparing meals and preparing recipes. If you're old enough, you can prepare these recipes yourself. James has been preparing these recipes for the last year, and Victoria is getting ready to do them by herself. But until then, you can ask a parent to help you, and they can help you with the big knife issues or the hot pan issues, and you can learn how to cook before you actually are old enough to do so. But you're never too young to get into the kitchen. So the first thing I'm going to do is turn this on about 6, and that's going to give us about a medium-high temperature, which is what we want for browning off meats. And Victoria's going to put in about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We're using olive oil because it's high in polyunsaturated fats. And it's been shown to be a better type of oil than others because it doesn't have a lot of saturated oils. The saturated oils are the fats that adhere to your heart vessels, and so we want to be cognizant or pay attention to how much saturated fat we're getting in our diets. But remember that fat is fat. No matter what type of oil or fat or butter or margarine that you're using, it all has the same amount of calories in it. Now, if you want to figure out whether your oil is a little bit hot or not, you can take a few of the little crumbs that are on top of your chicken and stick it in there in the oil. And I didn't hit the oil. And if it fizzles, then it's about ready. And ours isn't quite ready yet, so we're going to give it one more second. You need to be careful with oils because if you leave this sitting on the stove long enough, it will eventually begin to smoke and catch on fire. So you don't want to cause a kitchen fire. So you need to stay with your recipes. You also want to be very careful when you add liquid to oils because it will spatter. So in this case, our recipe calls for that, and we want to be careful when we get to that point. Now you can see where a toothpick might have been helpful in keeping those breasts together, but I think ours are going to stay fine together, don't you? Now I brought in a couple of different types of equipment that we could use while this is cooking. I have a wooden spoon and I have a spatula. This will help Victoria turn it without pulling the skin off, and it will also, or our nice crust, and it will help her keep from splattering it. And we'll use the oil. Oftentimes you see slots, and the slots are there so that we can lose the oil and leave it in the pan. But we could also just as easily use some kind of wooden tool in our kitchen that would allow us to pick it up and turn it without flopping the oil to ourselves and causing us to get a burn. Oh, it looks like it's about ready to turn, Victoria. You want to give it a shot? Now Victoria is going to flip the chicken away from her so that if she does accidentally drop it, which sometimes we do, the oil won't spatter back up onto her. It'll spatter up onto the counter, and we can easily clean the counter up. Now we're going to let it brown for just a little bit longer on this side, probably about 2 more minutes, and then we'll add our chicken broth. Victoria, it looks like it's browning really well. Let's go ahead and add our chicken broth.
All right.
Now she's going to do this very carefully because she doesn't want this water, when it gets mixed into the oil, to actually spatter up. So maybe this spot over here where there isn't any oil would be the best spot to add it. There we go. Oh, it looks so good and it smells so good. And now we're going to leave this for just a few minutes. Probably about 15 minutes. The chicken will continue to cook. It'll give it kind of a moist heat method of cooking style, and then we'll come back off and get it off and ready for the family. So now Victoria's going to plate it, and where she's plating it, there's also some Asian squash that we found at the market yesterday, and it's really sweet, but look how pretty it looks. It ended up being elongated, and when you open it and cut it, it has these small seeds in there. We took our seeds out so that it kind of like corn and apple, and now we've got a really pretty plate, I think. James and Victoria and I are going to be glad to get to eat, and Dad is going to be really sorry that he wasn't here to be able to enjoy this. Now I think Victoria is going to take some of the liquid, just a little bit, to pour over the top so that we don't lose, she's going to make it look pretty there, so that we don't lose the added flavor that's cooked into the chicken broth. And you'll notice that there's not much chicken broth left because it's actually evaporated and some of it has been taken into the chicken. So we hope you too will try some different recipes with different types of herbs. We've used chicken and pesto today, but you could just as easily have done roasted potatoes with rosemary, or a steak with mushrooms and oregano and marjoram. And just thinking about those things makes my mouth water.